we lose value for things over time. It's natural. The first time you got your car, you can bear us witness of how excited you were getting a new car. It was not the best of cars, but the fact that it was the first in your hands, you had so much respect for it. But over time, you realize that you start seeing other cars, because now you own a car. And because you own it, your human tendency tells you that don't keep one thing at the same level for a long time. So suddenly you want a better version of what you already own. The first time you owned it, you were excited, but your human nature tells you that don't be excited always about something that has its same worth all the time. So then you begin to fight with your human nature until you lose the battle, and then suddenly every value you have for that thing that you used to sing about goes down. It happens with our phones. It happens with our salaries. You get a first salary, come to testify, excited, but over time, then 5,000 cedis a month's salary becomes so little to you that because of that, it begins to affect your effectiveness in office, because you feel that you need a promotion, you feel that you are bigger than 5,000. Then your human nature begins to fight and begins to fight until you lose the job. Then over time you realize that, oh, so it's not easy to even get a job. Now you begin to fight for a job that would pay you less, yet you are not getting. That is the human life. And the human life always appreciates other humans, but over time their worth in our eyes begins to depreciate. You meet a girl, you are not able to sleep, you call her, you buy gifts for her, you pay school fees, you buy her a car, you buy her an iPhone. You are using Samsung A7, you buy iPhone 14 for her. It's a reflection of how much you value her. But you see, over time, your human nature will naturally begin to reveal itself, especially after you come to the point knowing that now you have this person. No matter how big you are big in the eyes that is very far from you. Your greatness is connected to the proximity of the eyes watching you. When that eyes gets closer, it becomes familiar. So the same woman that this man was dying over, now this man sees the whole family of the woman, takes some money from him and gives the woman to him and say, from today she is yours. Suddenly you trigger something that she is today yours, triggers a human nature in you that you yourself don't see. So over time, that human nature begins to fight off the value that you have for that same person. And it becomes worse after marriage, and then for the first time you sleep with her and you don't have to hide it. You both bath together, you both eat together, and then the person's negative side begins to come out. This person you were seeing so big now begins to fat in your eyes and in your presence. And he farts and says, oh, excuse me, and he goes. It is doing something to your heart, but you don't know. It is killing something. And that is the value you have for that person. And you too, over time, you realize that at first, in her presence, you couldn't yawn and do certain things. But this time, you yawn and do this. and you are still fine, nothing moves you. Or no, so na kanimuko restaurant. Or no, so ya ne want to say the moon won't need. Na fork no, but they are sake to every not in the cinema. No attempt tissue. Now I said the janam ni bi woko. And nama woja on when you say it is killing her. What said the jebi? All kunyina no shene chi say they are doing ke you fear. But this time you marry her. O beba na banku ni nkume si na nim no. O kasakura wo fi wo say a house say is this not the same lady we used to hang out in? We used to hang out in all the... Wow. Listen to me. It looks nice, but there is one thing that it will be doing to you. It will be killing the value you have for her. Over time, you will see that you are losing respect in several regards for her. So at a point in time, you begin to step into a place of taking her for granted, because now you are seeing a little stretch marks. Probably before you were marrying him, he was an anointed man that you see on pulpit, and very soon you are sleeping and that anointed man is tapping you. Can I? Is this not the guy that kaya? Does this guy also have sex? There are some people that all the time you were dating, anytime they are coming to meet you, the kind of perfume. But it is when you go home, that is where you realize that the perfume was on top of baffinglessness. And for 2 days you have to handle an armpit without a sponge. And so I'm telling you, natural stuff. When some people step out, they are saluted, but at home they are dirty. And the day you marry such a person and take the person home, one of the things you must battle is not to lose your respect for the person. Otherwise, losing your respect and regard for the person will come naturally. There are people with muscles that as a young lady, when you saw it, you really accepted him, and you did that because you thought all muscle people are good in bed. Until you realize that when it comes to that level, someone will have one pack. One pack. But will be very experienced. You go and gamble and then get your 6 packs, go home and realize that you have experience with one pack some time ago. That one was deeper. When you don't take care, we lose respect for many. Listen to me. We have taken each other for granted because we are not paying attention to certain details. There are some people, it is after you marry and your husband loses his job, that is when you realize that all the respect you had for him was because he was having a good job. And if not that job, you wouldn't have even married him. And then you get married to him, he loses his job, no money is coming again. That is where you know that naturally you become angry when you see his face. So all this while, the submission was not about his face, it was about his pocket. When he loses it, you realize that you've lost respect for his person. You see a beautiful sister, nice, and then you marry the person, and later you go home and realize that this sister smells. But outside, she's the best dressed. But when you try to sleep with her, she smells. What do? And a shallow person begins to lose respect for her and starts to chase other girls. People have weaknesses. but that doesn't make them bad. There are people whose weakness is that they are stingy, but that doesn't mean they are bad. But the person's stinginess can let you take the person for granted, and you begin to insult, attack everybody you have that God gives you, and is your wife or husband, can be and is an excellent person, depending on how you value the person and handles the person. Nobody is perfect until we are built up. Don't be ashamed. You can't take your partner for granted because he can't speak English, and because of that you hide him or her from your friends. You don't want your friends to talk to him or her because his L and R is a problem, and you are afraid that if he goes to so. No, be proud of your partner's weakness. If your partner can't speak English, when he meets your friends, let all of you speak G. If it is Ewe, you speak Ewe. If it is Ga, you speak Ga. Don't try to force your partner to please your friends. Your friends didn't marry you. My partner doesn't know how to. My partner doesn't know how to dress. My partner is not that beautiful. My partner is not that. So you feel comfortable relating to office colleagues, but you don't feel comfortable relating to your own wife. You don't feel comfortable taking your wife out because to you, she's not that beautiful. You are making a terrible mistake. Because see, at a point in time, beauty is not what these two eyes sees. Beauty is inside. Someone can be beautiful until he gives birth to one child, and everything changes. There are certain beautiful girls now. Enjoy your beauty because childbirth is not for you. Take all the pictures you have to take. Have all the Snapchats you want to chat, because childbirth is not for you. The day you give birth, everything about you will change. That is where you need a matured man who has value for humanity and not just makeups. There is a certain level of weight you can get after giving birth. No gym can bring it down. All that is needed for you is for your partner to understand how to guard your worth in his heart. That is not about you changing in physique. It is about who you are and the content in you. Don't take your partner for granted. There is nobody in the marriage or relationship that has a specific job. You don't get angry because your wife couldn't cook. If she cooks for you, she's doing her wifely duty. But if she doesn't, it doesn't make her a criminal. And there are some also unwise wives that has very matured men. You don't cook, he cooks. You don't cook, he cooks. Now you think that it is your husband that must be cooking for you. You are also taking him for granted. So you do what you want. Relationship is not the mechanism to take care of yourself when your parents are there. It is not the responsibility of your boyfriend to take you to school. Whoever gave birth to you is responsible to take you to school. So if you get a guy that takes you to school and you don't appreciate it and you take it for granted, you are a fool. A young man depending on a woman's salary, yet maltreating her. You are not a fool. You are stupid. You don't work. A lady is working to give you part of her salary. Then you are using that part to cheat. If she finds out to attack you, then you beat her. We're a murderer. We are in a very imbalanced generation, fighting for what we don't deserve and defending it. Last time I heard a young woman saying that if you don't use a Range Rover, don't dare propose to me. Where are you coming from? Why coming from low? Why? Why are we disgracing our parents? Does your father drive Range Rover? Do you drive Range Rover? Does your brothers drive Range Rover? So whose son should go and drive a Range Rover to propose to you? Are you serious? And there are foolish men that will force themselves to drive Range Rover and go and propose. Is your breast gold? Does your breast contain anointing oil? And there are people taking others for granted. I told you a story some time ago. There are some of you seated here right now. The man buys you credit, yet you don't call him with it. He buys you the credit, and he has records of how he has been the one calling. Yet, by when he buys it on Monday, by Wednesday you are requesting for another credit. Share. And there be bakwasieni beti. Kwasieni tia agrobegu. A young man, you don't take job money, you don't give job money, you are home, and then you come back and your wife has forced to cook something, and then you come and eat on top of it and attack her and go and sleep. You are a boss until one day she would be determined to walk out. That is where you go and take another woman who will show you that is a man that must take care of the house. Last time I heard a young lady told her husband that you are worse than an animal because you have a husband who does not love beating women. Very soon, neni bete obeko fufro beba wabun koto dwe koto no no se boaso. That is where you will know that there is a price you will pay if you don't pay attention to who God gives you. Nowhere cool in this life, nowhere cool. Nyo wosika eni koko, nyo wokoko eni sika. Dia ne ho afa pebufu, dia ne ho nya fa brane ho ase. Till you choose what you can handle. You won't have a perfect person. Near woko school onyamre ma. Near wanko school benyamra ma. The issue is that you will never have a complete package. So value what you have. Value it. Sure.